The Discovery Dr. Elena Vasquez checked her diving equipment one more time before stepping into the submersible. The deep ocean research vessel Challenger floated peacefully on the surface of the Pacific, 300 miles west of California. Elena had spent her entire career studying the mysteries of Earth's ocean floors, but today felt different. The strange energy readings her team had detected last week were unlike anything in the scientific literature. "Ready for descent, Doctor." "Vasquez?" asked Captain Morrison through the intercom. "Ready as I'll ever be," Elena replied, settling into her seat. The submersible Deep Explorer was one of the most advanced underwater vehicles on Earth, capable of diving to depths that would crush a human body in seconds. Far above the Earth's atmosphere, Admiral Zeftar stood on the bridge of the hegemony battleship Starpiercer. His forearms worked efficiently across multiple control panels while his compound eyes studied the blue and green world below. For 200 years, the Galactic Council had monitored this primitive planet, watching its inhabitants slowly develop. "Basic space travel. Admiral, we are approaching the designated coordinates," reported his second-in-command, Lieutenant Krickstahl. "The humans appear to have only basic satellite networks. Their most advanced ships barely leave their planet's atmosphere." Zeftar's mandibles clicked in satisfaction. "Perfect. This should be a simple first contact mission. We offer them protection. They join the Council as a junior member, and we gain access to their planet's resources. Standard procedure." The alien fleet consisted of 12 ships, not a massive force, but more than enough to deal with any resistance from a primitive world. Their sensors showed human population centers, basic energy signatures, and the expected electromagnetic radiation from an early technological civilization. Back in the depths of the Pacific, Elena's submersible descended through layers of darkness. At 3,000 meters, her lights illuminated strange formations on the ocean floor. What she had initially thought were natural rock formations now looked decidedly artificial. "This is incredible," she whispered into her recording device. "The structures extend far beyond what our surface scans indicated. These formations are too geometric to be natural." As Elena moved closer to investigate, her submersible's sonar painted a picture that made her heart race. The ocean floor wasn't covered with rocks or coral. Instead, massive metallic structures stretched in every direction, disappearing into the darkness beyond her light's reach. "Captain Morrison, are you receiving this data?" Elena called through the communication link. "We're seeing it, Elena, but it doesn't make sense. Those readings suggest structures the size of skyscrapers down there." Elena guided her submersible between what appeared to be towers or spires rising from the seafloor. Her cameras captured images of smooth metallic surfaces covered in patterns that looked almost like writing. As she moved deeper into the underwater city, her instruments began detecting energy signatures. "There's power down here," she reported, her voice filled with excitement and confusion. "These structures are active. Above the Earth, Admiral Zeftar noticed the first anomaly." "Lieutenant, are you detecting unusual energy patterns from the planet's surface?" "Yes, Admiral. The readings are coming from their oceans. The energy signatures are significant." Zeftar frowned. His species had cataloged thousands of worlds, and primitive planets didn't generate the kind of power his sensors were detecting. "Run a deep scan. I want to know what's producing those readings." Elena's submersible approached what appeared to be a central structure, larger than the others and covered in intricate symbols. Without thinking, she extended the submersible's mechanical arm and touched one of the glowing symbols on the structure's surface. The effect was immediate and terrifying. Light exploded across the ocean floor as the ancient structure responded to her touch. Energy raced through conduits and cables that had been hidden in the darkness, illuminating a vast network that stretched beyond the horizon. Elena's submersible was suddenly surrounded by a city that rivaled anything on the surface world. "Elena, we're detecting massive energy spikes across the entire Pacific Basin." Captain Morrison's voice crackled through the communication system. "What did you do down there?" Before Elena could respond, her instruments showed something impossible. The structures around her weren't just buildings, they were ships. Massive, sleek vessels that had been resting on the ocean floor, camouflaged and dormant. And now they were waking up. On the surface, Captain Morrison watched his instruments in disbelief. This is impossible. The ocean floor is moving. Across the Pacific, similar events were occurring. In the Mariana Trench, ancient systems activated, sending cascading signals to dormant networks throughout the ocean. The Atlantic responded next, followed by the Indian Ocean, the Arctic, and every major body of water on Earth. Admiral Zeftar's calm demeanor shattered as his sensor operator delivered impossible readings. Admiral, the energy signatures from the planet have increased by a factor of 10,000. The entire planet appears to be activating. That's impossible, Zeftar said, but his instruments didn't lie. The primitive world below was suddenly generating energy levels that rivaled the Galactic Council's most advanced civilizations. Sir, we're detecting movement in their oceans. Large-scale movement. Deep beneath the Pacific, Elena watched in awe and terror as the ancient city came to life around her. Lights raced along the hulls of ships that stretched for kilometers in every direction. Her submersible's computer system struggled to count the vessels as they began to rise from their resting places on the ocean floor. 100 ships, she whispered into her recorder. No, 1,000. No, that can't be right. Her instruments kept climbing. 10,000 ships. 50,000. The numbers seemed impossible, but the evidence surrounded her. Each vessel was massive, sleek, and clearly built for space travel. Their technology appeared far more advanced than anything humanity had ever created. Elena, you need to surface immediately. Captain Morrison's voice was tight with panic. We're detecting ships rising from ocean floors around the entire planet. The governments are going crazy. No one knows what's happening. As Elena began her ascent, she watched through her porthole as the first of the ancient ships broke the surface. Water cascaded from its hull as it rose into the air, its surface shimmering with energy fields that her instruments couldn't fully analyze. Admiral Zeftar stood frozen on his bridge as his scanners revealed the truth. The primitive planet below was home to the largest fleet in galactic history. Ships were emerging from every ocean, their technology signatures indicating capabilities that surpassed even the most advanced hegemony vessels. Admiral, his communications officer reported, we're receiving a transmission from the planet's surface. Put it through. A human voice, speaking in perfectly accented galactic standard, filled the bridge. Attention, alien vessels. This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Pacific Deep Fleet. You are in sovereign human space. State your intentions. Zeftar's forearms trembled as he realized the magnitude of his mistake. The primitive world he had come to conquer was revealing itself to be the most powerful military force the galaxy had ever seen. The humans hadn't been hiding because they were weak. They had been hiding because they were too strong. As Elena's submersible reached the surface, she emerged into a world transformed. The ocean around her was filled with ships unlike anything in human memory, their hulls gleaming in the sunlight as they prepared for whatever came next. The secret was out. Earth's hidden guardians had awakened, and the galaxy would never be the same. The awakening Admiral Sarah Chen had been sleeping in her command quarters when the alert systems activated. After 40 years of quiet service in the Deep Fleet, she had grown accustomed to the peaceful routine of the underwater facilities. The emergency signals changed everything in an instant. Admiral to the bridge immediately, the computer announced throughout the massive underwater complex. Alert status confirmed. Ancient protocols are now active. Sarah moved quickly through corridors that hummed with new energy. The Deep Pacific Command had been her home for 2 decades, but she had never seen it like this. Systems that had remained dormant throughout her entire career were now online, bathing the corridors in blue light she had only seen in historical records. On the bridge, her staff worked frantically at stations that had activated for the first time in centuries. Commander Torres, her second-in-command, looked up as she entered. Admiral, the beacon protocols have been triggered. All ocean fleets are responding to the awakening signal. Sarah took her position at the central command chair, a piece of technology far more advanced than anything the surface world possessed. Holographic displays surrounded her, showing the status of fleets across all of Earth's oceans. Report, Commander. Ma'am, we have confirmed activation of Deep Atlantic Command, Deep Arctic Command, Deep Indian Command, and all subsidiary facilities. Total ship count is approaching projected numbers. Sarah studied the displays, watching as red dots representing dormant vessels turned green across the globe. How many ships are we looking at, Commander? Current count is 873,000 vessels active, with more coming. Online every minute. The computer projects will reach full deployment within 6 hours. The numbers were staggering, even to Sarah. She had known about the fleets, had trained for this moment her entire career, but seeing the full scope of humanity's hidden power was overwhelming. What triggered the activation? A surface research vessel made contact with Beacon Station 7 in the Pacific Deep Zone. Dr. Elena Vasquez, a marine archaeologist, appears to have accidentally activated the primary alert system. Sarah nodded. The surface world had finally stumbled upon their secret. After 3,000 years of careful concealment, the truth was emerging from the depths. On the surface, President Maria Santos stood in the Situation Room, surrounded by confused advisors and military leaders. The morning briefing had turned into a crisis meeting as reports flooded in from around the world. "Madam President," General Rodriguez said, his voice strained, "our satellite imagery confirms massive objects emerging from ocean floors globally. The Pentagon's best estimate is over 1 million vessels, and they're clearly not of surface origin." "That's impossible," Defense Secretary Williams interjected. "We monitor every square mile of ocean on this planet. There's no way anyone could hide that many ships." "The evidence is right there," Rodriguez replied, pointing to the satellite feeds. "These aren't surface ships. They're coming up from deep, underwater facilities that we never knew existed." President Santos studied the images of sleek, massive vessels rising from the Pacific. "Have we made contact with whoever's controlling these ships?" "Yes, ma'am. Admiral Sarah Chen contacted us directly. She claims to represent the Pacific Deep Fleet and says she needs to brief you immediately on what she calls historical security protocols." Meanwhile, Admiral Zeftar's fleet hung in space above Earth, their earlier confidence completely shattered. What was supposed to be a simple first contact mission had become the most dangerous situation in Galactic Council history. "Admiral," his sensor operator reported, "the ship count has exceeded 1 million vessels. Their technology signatures indicate capabilities we've never encountered." Zeftar studied the tactical displays, his compound eyes tracking the massive formations emerging from Earth's oceans. Each ship was larger than his flagship, and their energy readings suggested weapons and shields that could easily destroy his entire fleet. "Sir, we're receiving another transmission from the surface." "Put it through." Admiral Chen's voice filled the bridge again. "Admiral Zeftar of the Hegemony, this is Admiral Chen. We need to talk. I'm transmitting coordinates for a meeting point. Come alone in an unarmed shuttle, and we can discuss this situation without unnecessary bloodshed." Zeftar's mandibles clicked nervously. "How does she know my name and ship designation?" "Unknown, sir. Our communications have been secured throughout this mission." Deep beneath the Pacific, Admiral Chen watched her displays as more ships joined the formation. The underwater cities that had housed humanity's defenders for millennia were coming, alive, their populations emerging from stasis and taking their positions. "Admiral," Commander Torres reported, "we have confirmation from all deep commands. Fleet Admiral Martinez in the Atlantic reports full deployment. Fleet Admiral Kim in the Indian Ocean confirms ready status. The Arctic and Antarctic fleets are at 70% deployment and rising." "What about the support facilities?" "Luna Base acknowledges our signals and reports ready status. Mars Deep is coming online. The asteroid belt installations are activating their beacon networks." Sarah felt a chill of realization. The awakening wasn't limited to Earth's oceans. Humanity's hidden infrastructure spanned the entire solar system, and it was all coming online at once. "Commander, prepare a briefing packet for the surface governments. They need to understand what they're dealing with." On the surface, Dr. Elena Vasquez sat in a debriefing room, still trying to process what she had witnessed. The government officials questioning her seemed as confused as she was. Dr. Vasquez, Director Hayes from the National Security Agency, said, "You're telling us that you discovered an entire underwater civilization?" "Not exactly," Elena replied. What I found was a military installation. The ships, the technology, everything was clearly designed for space warfare. But the symbols, the architectural style, it was human. Definitely human. That's impossible. Humans have never had that kind of technology. Elena shook her head. The evidence is right there. These aren't alien ships, Director. They're ours. We just never knew they existed. Back in space, Admiral Zeftar made his decision. Against the advice of his officers, he boarded an unarmed shuttle and descended toward Earth's surface. The meeting coordinates led him to a massive ship that had emerged from the Pacific, its hull gleaming with energy fields that his sensors couldn't penetrate. As his shuttle landed in the alien vessel's bay, Zeftar prepared himself for what might be the most important conversation in galactic history. The beings he had come to conquer were revealing themselves to be potentially the most powerful force the galaxy had ever seen. Admiral Chen met him in a corridor that spoke of technology far beyond anything in the Galactic Council's possession. Her uniform was simple, but the ship around them hummed with power that made his flagship seem primitive. "Welcome aboard the Leviathan, Admiral Zeftar," she said in perfect galactic standard. "We have much to discuss." "How do you know our language?" Zeftar asked. Admiral Chen smiled, and there was something ancient and knowing in her expression. "Admiral, we've been watching the galaxy for a very long time. We know more about you than you know about us." As they walked deeper into the ship, Zeftar realized that everything the Galactic Council thought they knew about this sector of space was wrong. The humans weren't a primitive species ready for first contact. They were something far more dangerous, a sleeping giant that had just awakened. The revelation Admiral Chen led Admiral Zeftar through the corridors of the Leviathan toward the ship's central archive chamber. The alien's forearms trembled slightly as he took in the advanced technology surrounding them. Every surface hummed, with energy, and holographic displays showed star maps that extended far beyond the known galaxy. "Your ship," Zeftar said, his translator working to convert his clicks and whistles into galactic standard. "It is more advanced than anything in our databases." "That's because your databases are incomplete," Chen replied. "The galaxy you know is only a small part of what exists. Your people have been exploring space for what, 10,000 years? 12,000, Zeftar corrected. "We've been among the stars for 50,000. The archive chamber doors opened with a soft hiss, revealing a vast space filled with holographic displays and data storage systems that seemed to bend light itself. At the center stood a massive projection showing the galaxy, but not as Zeftar knew it. This map showed territories and civilizations that extended far beyond the borders of known space. "Computer," Chen commanded. "Begin historical briefing protocol. Authorization Chen Alpha 7. The chamber filled with images as humanity's true history unfolded before them. Zeftar watched in growing amazement as the holographic display showed human fleets spreading across the galaxy, thousands of years before his own people had developed spaceflight. 50,000 years ago, Chen began, humanity reached the stars. We built an empire that spanned 3/4 of this galaxy and extended into neighboring ones. We were explorers, builders, and yes, when necessary, warriors." The display showed massive space stations, ring worlds, and fleets that dwarfed anything in the current galaxy. Human colonies dotted systems that the Galactic Council had never even discovered. "What happened to this empire?" Zeftar asked. The holographic display shifted, showing images that made even Chen's face grow dark. Strange geometric ships appeared at the edge of human space, vessels that seemed to exist partially outside normal reality. "The Devourers came from outside our dimension," Chen explained. "They consumed entire star systems, turning matter and energy into something we couldn't understand. Our greatest fleets couldn't stop them. They adapted to every weapon we used, learned from every strategy we employed." Zeftar watched the simulation of humanity's greatest war. Fleet after fleet disappeared into the void as the Devourers consumed system after system. The human empire, which had seemed unstoppable, began to crumble before an enemy that defied all logic. "The war lasted 300 years, Chen continued. "We lost 90% of our territory and 60% of our population. Our greatest minds came to a terrible conclusion. We couldn't win. So you retreated? We did something far more difficult. We chose to disappear. The display showed the final phase of humanity's retreat. Massive fleets converged on Earth as the outer colonies were evacuated or went into deep hiding. Advanced technology was hidden in ocean trenches, underground facilities, and asteroid bases. Most shocking of all, the display showed memory modification on a global scale. We erased ourselves from galactic history, Chen said. Every human colony either went into deep concealment or had their memories altered. The surface population of Earth was given false memories of a primitive past. We made ourselves appear weak and insignificant. But why? Zeftar asked. Because the Devourers tracked civilizations by their technological signatures and expansionist behavior. A primitive world with no space empire poses no threat. They would ignore Earth and move on to other dimensions, other realities. The holographic display showed Earth as Zeftar knew it, a blue world with a young civilization just beginning to explore space. But now he could see the truth beneath the surface. The ocean floors teemed with hidden cities. The asteroid belt contained disguised facilities. Even Earth's moon concealed massive installations. For 3,000 years we waited, Chen continued. We maintained the deception while rebuilding our strength in secret. The surface humans developed naturally, unaware of their true heritage. Meanwhile, we prepared for the day the Devourers might return. Are they returning? Chen shook her head. Our deep space monitors lost track of them 2,000 years ago. They moved on to other dimensions, other realities. The threat appears to be over, but we maintained the concealment out of caution. Zeftar studied the star map showing the current galaxy. So when we discovered human radio signals, we let you find them. We've been monitoring your civilization since you developed spaceflight. We know about the Galactic Council, the hegemony, the Saurian Empire, all of it. We've been watching and waiting to see what kind of galaxy would develop in our absence. The alien admiral processed this information, his compound eyes focusing on different sections of the display. How many of you are there? On Earth's surface, about 8 billion humans who believe their history begins with primitive agriculture. In the deep facilities, another 2 billion who remember the truth. Throughout the solar system, various installations house perhaps another billion. Beyond that, Chen gestured to the star map. We have sleeper colonies throughout the galaxy. Most don't even know they're human. We estimate total human population at around 50 billion, scattered across thousands of worlds. 50 billion, Zeftar repeated. The entire Galactic Council represents maybe 20 billion souls. The question now, Chen said, is what happens next? Your people came here expecting to encounter a primitive civilization. Instead, you've triggered the awakening of a force that could conquer the known galaxy in a matter of months. The implications hit Zeftar like a physical blow. You could destroy us all. We could, Chen agreed. But that's not who we are. We're not conquerors by nature. We became warriors out of necessity, but we prefer to be builders and explorers. The archive chamber filled with new images. Human cities among the clouds of gas giants. Research stations studying the birth of stars, and peaceful colonies where humans lived in harmony with alien species that had never heard of the Galactic Council. However, Chen's voice took on a harder edge. We will not tolerate aggression against Earth or humanity. Your fleet came here with conquest in mind. Other council members have similar intentions. That cannot be allowed. Zeftar realized. He was witnessing the end of the galactic order he had known. What do you propose? Integration, not conquest. The Galactic Council can continue to exist, but Earth will not be joining as a junior member. We'll be taking our place as the dominant power, ensuring peace through strength rather than through the threat of mutual destruction. My government will never accept this. Chen smiled, and there was no warmth in it. Admiral, your government doesn't have a choice. We have more ships than the rest of the galaxy combined. Our technology is centuries ahead of yours. Our people are trained, disciplined, and remember how to fight wars on a galactic scale. The display showed the current deployment around Earth. Over 1 million ships, each one capable of destroying a Galactic Council fleet single-handedly. But beyond that, Zeftar could see the true scope of human power. Hidden facilities throughout the solar system, sleeper agents on hundreds of worlds, technology that could reshape the galaxy itself. "What happens to my fleet?" he asked. "That depends on your next transmission to the Galactic Council," Chen replied. "You can report that Earth is too dangerous to approach and recommend a policy of non-interference. Or you can try to warn them about what you've discovered here." "And if I choose the second option?" Chen's expression grew cold. "Then your fleet will be the first demonstration of what happens to those who threaten humanity. We've remained hidden for 3,000 years, Admiral. That era is ending. The galaxy is about to rediscover why humans once ruled the stars." As Zeftar looked at the displays surrounding them, showing the true extent of human power, he realized that everything was about to change. The primitive world his people had come to conquer was about to reclaim its place as the galaxy's dominant civilization. The age of human concealment was over. The age of human resurgence was about to begin. The Test Admiral Zeftar returned to his flagship with his mind racing. The meeting with Admiral Chen had shattered everything he thought he knew about the galaxy. As his shuttle docked with the Star Piercer, he found his bridge crew waiting anxiously for his report. "Admiral," Lieutenant Krickstall said, "the Galactic Council is demanding an immediate status report. High Command wants to know why we haven't initiated contact protocols." Zeftar looked at his crew, knowing that his next words would change the course of galactic history. "Send a priority transmission to the Council. Tell them that Earth is not what we expected. Recommend immediate strategic withdrawal and a full diplomatic review." "Sir?" Krickstall's confusion was obvious. "We came here to establish protectorate status over a primitive world." "The humans are not primitive," Zeftar said firmly. "Send the transmission." But it was already too late. 3 light-years away, General Sarkex of the Saurian Empire had been monitoring the Council's mission to Earth. The Saurians had always believed in striking first when facing potential threats. When they detected the massive energy signatures emerging from Earth's oceans, their response was immediate and brutal. "Launch the assault fleet," Sarkex commanded from his flagship Bone Crusher. "If this human world poses a threat to galactic stability, we will eliminate it before it can spread." The Saurian battle group consisted of 200 heavy cruisers, 50 dreadnoughts, and their flagship supercarrier. It was enough firepower to reduce a planet to asteroids. They jumped to hyperspace, targeting Earth's position. Admiral Chen received the hyperspace detection alert while still speaking with her fleet commanders. The underwater facilities had tracking systems that could detect approaching ships long before they arrived in normal space. "Admiral," Commander Torres reported, "we have multiple hyperspace signatures approaching our position. Configuration suggests Saurian Empire fleet composition. Estimated arrival in 37 minutes. Chen studied the tactical display. The Saurians were known throughout the galaxy for their aggressive nature and powerful military. They solved problems through overwhelming force, and they apparently saw humanity as a problem to be solved. "Signal all deep commands," Chen ordered. "Prepare for combat operations. This is not a drill." Across Earth's oceans, the hidden fleets began to move. Ships that had rested peacefully on the ocean floor for centuries rose to the surface, their weapon systems charging for the first time in 3 millennia. The sight was magnificent and terrifying. Endless rows of sleek warships emerging from the depths like sea monsters awakening from ancient slumber. "Ma'am," Torres continued, "the surface governments are in panic. They're detecting our full deployment and demanding explanations." "Patch me through to President Santos," Chen ordered. The connection established, Chen found herself speaking to Earth's most powerful surface leader. "Madam President, this is Admiral Chen of the Pacific Deep Fleet. Earth is about to be attacked by hostile alien forces. We are moving to intercept." "Admiral Chen," Santos's voice was strained. "The American people need to know what's happening. These ships, this technology, where did it come from?" "The full explanation will have to wait, Madam President. Right now, focus on keeping your people calm. We will handle the threat." On the Saurian flagship, General Sarkex studied the intelligence reports from Earth. The energy readings were impressive, but the Saurians had fought and conquered dozens of advanced civilizations. Numbers meant nothing when facing superior Saurian military doctrine. "General," his tactical officer reported, "we are dropping out of hyperspace in 30 seconds. All ships report ready for combat." "Excellent. Signal the fleet. Destroy all military targets. Disable the infrastructure. Leave the population centers intact for questioning. We need to understand how this primitive world developed such advanced technology." The Saurian fleet emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation, their ships spreading across Earth's orbital space like a dark cloud. Each vessel bristled with weapons capable of cracking continents. They had come to demonstrate the price of challenging galactic stability. What they found waiting for them defied belief. Captain Marcus Torres commanded the human dreadnought Tsunami, one of the smaller vessels in the Pacific Fleet. As the Saurian fleet appeared on his sensors, he felt a mixture of excitement and sadness. Excitement because humanity's warriors would finally test themselves against a galactic power. Sadness because he knew how this would end. "Captain," his weapons officer reported, "Saurian fleet is moving into attack formation. They're targeting our largest concentrations. Signal Admiral Chen that Tsunami requests permission to engage," Torres said calmly. "Permission granted, Captain. Show them what human engineering can do." The Tsunami accelerated toward the Saurian fleet, alone against 250 enemy ships. To any reasonable observer, it was suicide. The Saurians saw a single ship approaching their entire battle group and assumed the humans had made a desperate mistake. "Target that ship," General Sarkex ordered. "Destroy it quickly and move on to the main targets." 50 Saurian cruisers opened fire simultaneously, unleashing enough energy to vaporize a small moon. The space around the Tsunami lit up with weapons fire that should have reduced it to atomic particles. Instead, the human ship's shields absorbed the barrage without even flickering. "Impossible," Sarkex whispered. Captain Torres smiled as his ship shrugged off the alien attack. "Return fire. Single burst, low power setting." The Tsunami's main cannon fired once. A beam of coherent energy, barely a fraction of the ship's total. Firepower reached across space and touched the Saurian flagship. The Bone Crusher, a ship the size of a city and armed with weapons that could shatter planets, simply ceased to exist. One moment it was there, the next it was expanding gas and debris. The Saurian fleet stopped firing. "This is Captain Torres, of the human vessel Tsunami." His voice reached every Saurian ship. "You came here to destroy Earth. You will leave now or you will join your flagship." General Sarkex was dead, but his second-in-command, Colonel Vextai, stared at the empty space where the flagship had been. In 30 years of military service, she had never seen anything destroy a supercarrier with a single shot. "All ships," she transmitted, "retreat to safe distance. We need to reassess this situation." But Captain Torres wasn't finished demonstrating human capabilities. "I don't think you understand," he said, his voice carrying across the communication channels. "You came here to commit genocide against my species. There will be consequences." The Tsunami moved through the Saurian fleet like a shark among minnows, its weapons fired with surgical precision, disabling ships without destroying them completely. Engines were vaporized, weapon systems were melted, and life support was carefully preserved. Within 20 minutes, the entire Saurian battle group was helpless, drifting in space. "Colonel Vextai," Torres said, "you will return to your space and inform your government that Earth is under human protection. Any further aggression against this world or any human settlement will result in the complete destruction of your empire. Do you understand?" "We understand," Vextai replied, her voice barely a whisper. As the crippled Saurian fleet limped away from Earth, using emergency power and backup systems, the news of their defeat spread across the galaxy. The recordings of a single human ship destroying the Saurian flagship reached every civilized world within hours. Admiral Zeftar, still orbiting Earth in his small diplomatic fleet, watched the battle's aftermath with growing respect for Admiral Chen's earlier restraint. The humans could have destroyed the Saurian fleet completely, but they had chosen to send a message instead. "Admiral," his communications officer reported, "we're receiving urgent transmissions from the Galactic Council. They want a full report on what happened here." Zeftar looked at the display showing thousands of human ships now visible around Earth, their advanced technology no longer concealed. The galaxy had just witnessed the return of its former masters, and the demonstration had been unmistakable. "Tell the Council," he said, "that everything has changed. The balance of power in the galaxy has shifted permanently. Earth is not seeking to join the Galactic Council." He paused, watching as more human ships continued to rise from the oceans. Earth is going to lead it. The new Galactic Order 6 months after the Saurian defeat, the galaxy looked very different. The Galactic Council, which had governed space for 12,000 years, now met in emergency session every week as they struggled to adapt to the new reality. Humanity had not conquered anyone, but their mere existence had changed everything. Dr. Elena Vasquez stood on the observation deck of the newly risen Pacific Command Center, watching the bustling activity of the underwater city that was now partially above the waves. Ships came and went constantly, carrying diplomats, scientists, and trade representatives from across the galaxy. Her accidental discovery had triggered the greatest political upheaval in galactic history. "Hard to believe it all started with a curious marine biologist," said a voice behind her. Elena turned to see Admiral Chen approaching, no longer wearing the military uniform she had worn during the crisis. Now she wore the simpler clothes of a civilian administrator. "Any regrets, Admiral?" Elena asked. "About revealing our existence?" "No. We couldn't hide forever, and the galaxy was heading toward another major war anyway. The Saurians and 3 other empires were planning expansion campaigns that would have devastated dozens of civilizations." Elena nodded. The intelligence, reports that humanity had shared with the Galactic Council, had revealed the scope of the conflicts that were brewing. Ancient territorial disputes, resource wars, and ideological differences had been pushing the galaxy toward a catastrophic war. And now? Chen smiled. "Now everyone's too busy trying to figure out how to deal with us to fight each other." Through the observation deck's windows, Elena could see human ships working alongside vessels from a dozen different civilizations. The forced cooperation had led to unexpected discoveries and partnerships. Alien scientists were learning from human technology while humans gained new insights into galactic culture and history. President Santos had adapted to the new reality with remarkable skill. Rather than panic about the revelation that Earth harbored a secret military force, she had embraced the opportunity to elevate humanity's position in the galaxy. "The integration process is proceeding ahead of schedule," Santos said during her monthly briefing to the world's leaders. "Human colonies throughout the galaxy are revealing themselves and requesting reconnection with Earth. Our population estimates have increased to nearly 60 billion humans across 800 systems." The numbers were staggering. Entire civilizations that the Galactic Council had cataloged as alien species were revealing themselves to be human colonies that had forgotten their origins. The memory modification programs had been more extensive than anyone realized. In the depths of space, Captain Marcus Torres commanded a joint task force investigating reports of devourer artifacts in a distant system. His crew included humans, Saurians, hegemony officers, and representatives from 6 other civilizations. The cooperation that had seemed impossible 6 months earlier was now routine. "Captain," his science officer reported, "we're detecting the energy signature of a devourer probe ship. It appears to be dormant." Torres nodded. One of the unexpected benefits of humanity's revelation was access to information about threats the galaxy had never known existed. The devourers had left traces throughout the galaxy, and now joint human-alien teams were hunting them down. "Signal the fleet. We'll approach in standard formation. If that thing wakes up, we need to be ready." The task force included the latest human technology working alongside upgraded alien ships. The cooperation had led to rapid advances in defensive systems and weapons technology. The galaxy was becoming stronger, not weaker, under human leadership. On. The former Saurian homeworld, Colonel Vextai, now promoted to general, met with human ambassador Dr. Elena Vasquez. The marine biologist had proven to have an unexpected talent for diplomacy, perhaps because she approached alien cultures with the same curiosity she had once applied to ocean depths. "General," Elena said, "the reconstruction of your fleet is proceeding on schedule. The new ships incorporate human defensive technology with traditional Saurian weapon systems." Vextai studied the technical specifications. The hybrid vessels were more powerful than anything the Saurians had possessed before their encounter with humanity. Instead of being conquered, they were being upgraded. "Why?" Vextai asked. "We attacked your world. We intended to destroy your civilization. Why are you helping us become stronger?" Elena smiled. "Because the galaxy is a dangerous place, and we need allies, not subjects. The Devourers may return someday. There are other threats beyond our current borders. Humanity learned long ago that strength shared is strength multiplied. The philosophy was being implemented throughout human space. Rather than imposing their will through force, humans were offering partnership and mutual benefit. Civilizations that joined the New Order gained access to advanced technology, defensive alliances, and expanded trade opportunities." Admiral Chen, now serving as Earth's Galactic Administrator, presided over a meeting of the reformed Galactic Council. The chamber on the space station Unity included representatives from every known civilization. The humans didn't dominate the discussions, but their presence shaped every decision. "The exploration fleet has confirmed 17 new systems beyond the Galactic Rim," Chen announced. 3 contain habitable worlds and 2 show signs of previous Devourer activity. "We're organizing joint expeditions to investigate." The exploration program was expanding faster than anyone had imagined. Human deep space technology, combined with alien expertise in different types of environments, was opening new frontiers every month. "Admiral," the hegemony representative said, "our scientists are requesting access to human temporal shielding technology. Our analysis suggests it could revolutionize our understanding of hyperspace physics." "Approved," Chen replied. "In exchange, we'd like to study your crystalline computer systems. Our people believe they could enhance our artificial intelligence networks." The technology exchange programs had created a renaissance of scientific advancement. Each species contributed their unique insights while gaining access to discoveries they could never have made alone. Back on Earth, the surface population was adapting to their new reality with remarkable resilience. The revelation that their planet was the center of a galactic civilization had initially caused panic, but the benefits quickly became apparent. Disease was being eliminated through advanced medical technology. Environmental problems were being solved with techniques developed on dozens of different worlds. Food production had increased dramatically using agricultural methods perfected on human colonies throughout the galaxy. "The integration statistics are remarkable," Dr. Sarah Kim, Earth's new science administrator, reported to President Santos. "IQ test scores are increasing globally as people gain access to enhanced education systems. Life expectancy has increased by 30 years in just 6 months. Crime rates are at historic lows." Santos nodded. The surface humans were discovering that their species was capable of far more than they had ever imagined. The genetic modifications that had hidden their true potential were being carefully reversed, revealing enhanced intelligence, strength, and longevity that had been suppressed for millennia. In the depths of space, automated systems that had waited 3,000 years for activation were coming online throughout the galaxy. Ancient human installations revealed themselves on dozens of worlds, offering their services to the new galactic order. The Prometheus Station, a massive research facility hidden in an asteroid field, activated its beacon after detecting the awakening signal from Earth. Its AI systems, which had been conducting automated research for 3 millennia, immediately transmitted their findings to human command. "Admiral Chen," the AI announced during its first communication with Earth, "I have completed analysis of 17,000 alien cultures and identified optimal integration strategies for each species. I have also developed countermeasures for 43 potential galactic threats and designed improvements for current human technology." The scope of humanity's hidden infrastructure continued to expand. Sleeper facilities throughout the galaxy were revealing themselves, each one offering resources and capabilities that further strengthened the new order. As Elena stood on the observation deck of Pacific Command, watching the sunset paint the sky in brilliant colors, she reflected on how much had changed. Her simple desire to explore the ocean depths had awakened a sleeping giant and reshaped the galaxy. "No regrets?" Admiral Chen asked, joining her at the window. "None," Elena replied. "The galaxy needed to know that humanity was still here. We've been hidden long enough." Above them, human ships patrolled the space around Earth alongside vessels from a dozen alien civilizations. The fleets that had once hidden beneath the oceans now flew openly among the stars, no longer concealed but no longer alone. The age of human concealment was over. The age of galactic cooperation had begun, and somewhere in the depths of space, automated sensors continued their ancient watch, ready to alert the galaxy if the devourers ever returned. Humanity had reclaimed its place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as guardians of a galaxy that had finally learned to work together. The hidden million-ship fleet had become the foundation of a new golden age, one that would endure for thousands of years to come.